wouldn't know it by looking at social media, but I feel like we're at a point where we're a lot more accepting of people's differences, and where, or at least compared to 50 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I I was watching The Weakest Link just before we met,
Uh-huh.
and they were doing twins, and I'm looking at the groups of twins that they had on. And for me, being a woman of a certain age, I was like, whoa. But what I saw, really, there was nothing wrong with it. It was just stuff that, types of people that I'm not used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to be politically correct here, so I'm not
No.
calling out what
They were different.
They were different. And my mind still has a little bit of trouble wrapping itself around that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I try to accept everybody for who they are. If they're not, if someone is not evil, or, and I don't mean evil, but I mean like hurtful to people.
There you go.
Then what's wrong with them? I mean,
mm-hmm.
And I don't mean what's wrong with them. I mean, then you need to accept them and love them for who they are.
Exactly. It's if their content of their character is good intended, because there's jerks everywhere, but if they're not harming you, I think that's fine. I mean, it's live your life, seek what brings you joy. I think though sometimes we get, I feel like we need to cut the more senior generation some slack though, because like if I all of a sudden showed up and I shaved my beard, everybody's going to be like, whoa, you shaved your beard, So if I just one day show up in a dress, there's got to be that wiggle room for, I mean, it's, no one's going to throw rocks at me. That's different, but you got to cut some people some slack to be like, you can't just be like, so anyways, Aaron, what's going, tell us about this podcast you're doing. There's got to be some, some slack, especially coming from more senior generations where they were coming from.
Yeah. That's the thing, I talk to Cole about stuff, I don't get to talk to Chris quite as often, but I'll say something to Cole and she'll say, Mom, because it's so inappropriate in this day and age. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it that way. It's just that that's the way I was brought up, and I don't mean it to be inappropriate. Recently I've just been learning about transgender, and trying to wrap my head around being transgender and what does that mean. And so I might misspeak about someone who's transgender, or someone that or anything, that whole sexual alphabet group.
Yeah.
And I'm trying really hard to understand it, and of course, to make matters more confusing to me is, I'm a Christian woman, and people tell me that some of it is wrong, and I'm of a mind where I'm not so sure where I see that it is. Mm-hmm. So because I'm trying to be, I believe that God wants us to accept everybody.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on a lot of things, actually, but I'm with you on that. I think that there's a lot, there's the more important stuff. I mean, we could talk religion, but I really feel like when you get down to who people are inside, the going to Martin Luther King, the content of your character. But I also think that intentions are important, and I feel like it's almost unfair to demand so much from others and to be so knee jerk when someone's trying to understand, because I think intention is very important. And I think sometimes people get, and there's charlatans out there too that like to create controversy for attention. But I think that if you're focusing on it, like in your case, this is something you're trying to understand. Are you going to be able to say things perfectly? No. But that should be understandable. It's like if I was trying to explain Minecraft to you, like you would be like, okay, so is that Mr. Minecraft? I'm like, no, that's Steve or something. But I shouldn't go, no, that's Steve. How can you not know?
Right, exactly.
Like that to me is ridiculous. And I think and I think this with culture, with race, with backgrounds, with different countries, with nations, I think that the more inclusive we are and informative, rather than, I almost feel like some cases people want the controversy because they want the arm's length. They don't want to share these things with others. They want you to be, they want people to not understand them. It kind of puts them in this victim spot where if you truly want someone to understand you, and a miscommunication happens, take that time to just have that conversation, because you might, and I feel like the more we discuss things, the closer we are to each other, and the more we find out we're a lot more alike. I don't know if you've heard of Daryl Davis. Are you familiar with Daryl Davis? Daryl Davis was a jazz musician, and he would play for a lot of different bands. He used to travel with James Brown a lot, and for a long time he would travel with other band members. They would drive; they couldn't afford to fly, and he started finding that he would travel with some, Southern people of a Southern persuasion, and who were members of a certain secret society. No, but he would find that he would it started. He was traveling with another band member who was a member of the Klan, and Daryl Davis is a black man, and they got to drive 8 hours in the car together. So conversation comes up, and the other person starts talking about his beliefs and how he feels like, the white race is superior. And Daryl starts asking, instead of getting all up in a big argument and probably driving off the road, Daryl starts talking to him, and they have this great conversation. And then after the end of the conversation, he changed the dude's opinion about a lot of things. By the time they came back on the drive back, he quit the Klan.
Wow.
Daryl Davis is now, his claim is he has collected over 200 Klan outfits. He has gotten over 200 people to quit the Ku Klux Klan, and he's done it by simply discussing, having those conversations. And I think that's what's so much more important than anything, whether it's transgender, whether it's, race, whether it's culture. I think and media, whatever, gets clicks, whatever. I feel like if we make more of an effort to communicate and have those discussions, rather than kind of, this is what I believe, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind. It's having those curiosity and those discussions, I think, can do so much more for healing, rather than driving things apart. I don't know would you agree?
Absolutely. Being open-minded, wanting the knowledge. And I guess in that particular case that you were just saying, I would think that the guy, the white supremacist, probably initially didn't want to have the knowledge, but, just being with, would you say his name was Darius?
Daryl Davis, yeah.
Daryl Davis. He got to know him on a personal level, and
yes.
He realized that the guy knew his stuff, and got to spend the time with him. And a lot of times that's all it takes. If you get to know somebody and you get to know that person well, and that person is an upstanding person,
Mm-hmm.
then you begin to take what they have to say to heart and give that more credit than, what you hear on the TV or what you read on social media.
Catch new episodes of Mental Health Mondays every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Start your week off with a smile and some inspiration.